Welcome to the Bite Size Fitness Show, where we talk all things fitness, nutrition, and habits, and break them down into smaller, more digestible, bite-sized pieces of content for you to enjoy. My name is Sean Bikirk, and I am your host, and in today's episode, I'm going to be answering the question, how long does it take to see results? And this is a difficult question to answer because it's inherently vague. What are results? Everyone kind of has a different idea of the results they're hoping to achieve. And what metric or metrics are you using to assess whether or not you're progressing? So the more clear you are with these factors, the more you're going to be able to get a definitive answer. But for the sake of simplicity, I'll try to generalize here. Also going to generalize assuming that everyone I'm talking about here is doing the right things. Your nutrition's great, your fitness is great, you're doing all the right things necessary to get to your goal. Of course, that is a big assumption, and I know that's not realistic, but in order to actually be able to generalize, I have to make those assumptions. Okay, so other factors that are going to influence this as well are going to be age, are going to be body weight, are going to be any sort of underlying medical conditions, level of fitness, so beginner versus advanced, whether you're male or female, body type. There's a lot of different factors that go into this, and those factors will play a role as well. So just be mindful of that. Now, when it comes to results, there are some short-term, intermediate term, and long-term goals or results that we can talk about here. Some are almost immediate. So let's talk about some of those immediate or very, very short-term quick results that you can see simply by starting an exercise program. And a lot of these are going to be intangible. So things that you're not able to measure, but things that you can feel. So you might feel more energetic, your mood might improve, your sleep is better, and your overall confidence. This can happen within hours of exercise. This can happen within days. Usually it's very short-term, and you'll start to feel great right away, even if nothing else changes. Those intangibles can be a very quick, immediate response to eating healthy or exercising. Other stuff, let's talk about weight loss. So weight loss can happen a lot quicker than you might think. So weight loss can happen within days, sometimes even one day. And notice I said weight loss, not fat loss, because typically if you're going from a relatively sedentary lifestyle to doing something very active, changing your nutrition up, as soon as you make those changes, you're going to see a drop in weight. And a lot of that can be associated with water weight that you're holding on to. And then especially if your carb intake is a lot lower, or you're moving more, you're drinking more water, all of these things can influence your body weight, not necessarily your body fat. And this can continue for a week or two. So a week or two, you're going to notice, for most people at least, this is where you're going to lose the most amount of weight. And you can actually lose a lot of weight really quick, and you'll notice that it starts to slow down over time. Okay, so weight loss can happen within literally days. Fat loss takes a little bit longer. So fat loss is specifically the fat that you're dropping from your body. We tend to just assume any number on the scale that goes up or down is always fat. And of course, that's not the case. If you were to weigh yourself every day, you're going to get those fluctuations, and it's not always just body fat going up and down. So fat loss, this will typically take a week or two to really start if you're doing things correctly. And then the rate of fat loss / weight loss that you can see for most people is going to be 1 to 2 pounds per week. So 1 to 2 pounds per week is a relatively conservative goal that you can set for yourself. But as I mentioned, as you progress, as you get leaner, as you lose fat, as you lose weight, that number is going to go down. Of course, you're not going to keep going all the way down until you hit zero, right? It's impossible. So what ends up happening is your body catches up, making it more difficult to lose weight through metabolic adaptations, and just becomes more difficult over time. So you can expect that weight loss and that fat loss to be a lot quicker in the beginning part. So in the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even first months. And then the longer you do it, the slower that pace is going to be. Also, it's never linear. So it's important to recognize that you might lose 2 pounds one week, 0 pounds the next week, 3 pounds the week after, even though you're doing the exact same thing. That's totally normal. So it's important to understand that there are going to be fluctuations as you progress and go through this journey. So fat loss One of the things I like to do is not just use the scale, although I do think the scale is a great tool to use to analyze your metrics, but also measurements. So get a measuring tape, whether you do it yourself or someone else to do it for you. Make sure you're consistent, so it's the same person using the same landmarks over and over again, and then reassess every 4 to 6 weeks or so. Because the measuring tape is going to give you something that the scale won't. It's going to really tell you whether or not the body composition is changing. Because like I mentioned, that number on the scale can be influenced by other factors, not just body fat. But the measurement, if you're doing it correctly, is going to give you a much better indicator. Keep in mind, when it comes to measurements, it tends to take a lot longer for those numbers to go down. So you might see weight loss immediately, but the measuring tape will take a little bit longer, typically 4 to 6 weeks. And then once we get to more long-term things like performance, can take longer. So if you're trying to get stronger, if you're trying to improve your cardio, the more of a beginner you are, the faster these gains are going to be. But either way, typically it's going to take weeks to months to actually see notable changes with performance and with strength, with whatever it is that you're looking to really improve on in the gym. So that would be more of a longer term thing. And then the longest term thing, of course, is when we talk about a full body transformation. And once again, it really depends on where your starting point is. For someone who's been doing it a long time and maybe takes like an off season, like for example, if I wanted to go from fit to really fit, I can probably do that in 6 to 8 weeks. But that's because I already have this foundation. I've done it before, and it just takes some dietary switches to really switch that transformation. But for most people, especially if you haven't really been hitting the gym for a long time, especially if you haven't really been mindful of your nutrition, this is going to take months to even years. If everything is really, really good, you can expect between 6 to 12 months for a full body transformation. Now you can see what look like full body transformations in as little as 6 to 8 weeks. You can see it on our website, breakthroughbootcamp.ca, if you go to transformations. But keep in mind, this is a very volatile point because yes, you're starting to see results, but your body hasn't yet adjusted to being at that composition yet. So it's super important that you maintain those same habits that got you there going forward for several months, because you're much more likely to put that weight on to get your body composition back to where it was if you haven't been doing it for a long enough time, and you're not really giving yourself enough time to what we call the foundation. So to build that foundation in itself usually takes months. So a full body transformation for the average person is going to take anywhere between 6 to 12 months. Okay, so short term, you can notice those intangibles, the mood, you're going to feel great, your energy, you're sleeping well. Medium term, even short term, is weight loss. Fat loss tends to take a little bit longer, but 1 to 2 weeks to really start to facilitate that. And you can expect 1 to 2 pounds per week. As the weeks and months progress, that number is going to get lower and lower as fat loss becomes more difficult. Performance usually takes weeks to months, and then full body transformation for the average person, 6 to 12 months. Of course, I'm making some big generalizations here, but that's kind of a general breakdown of when you can expect to see results based off your goal or goals. And also, it really depends on your starting point, who you are, what you've been doing in the past, and all those other factors that I mentioned in the beginning. So I hope this video helped. See you guys in the next one.